For years, we thought true high-end home cinema meant selling a kidney for a Sony or JVC projector. But what if I told you there's a mid-range contender that delivers nearly all of the picture quality and also gives you features that those others don't for a couple of grand less? Well, this is the Epson QB1000B, and it's a beast of a media room projector. We've run the numbers, fired up the laser, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly where it excels and the one big trade-off you need to know about. So stick around, this one's highly recommended. Hello and welcome back to the AV Forums YouTube channel. I'm Phil Hinton, and in this video we're going to deep dive into the Epson QB1000B. This is a media room projector, and that is key. Why is that? Well, it's because it has incredible brightness, and we're talking acclaimed 3300 lumens from the laser light source with a 20,000 hour lifespan. But before we get into this Epson in any great detail, thanks to everyone who's subscribed to the channel, old and new. If you haven't yet hit the subscribe button, then please do so, as you won't want to miss out on our in-depth reviews, and of course it also helps us build this channel. You can also read the full in-depth review of this Epson projector on AV Forums, where we go into far more detail than we can in this video, and we also publish our reviews first on the website, with the videos appearing on YouTube a short time later. Also remember that our reviews are never sponsored. We want to bring you honest and unbiased reviews to help you make the right buying decision, and therefore you'll never see a sponsored review on this channel. AV Forums is one of the largest AV and hi-fi communities on the web, so why not head over there and check out what like-minded tech enthusiasts are saying about this projector and more at avforums.com. Now here's the first key detail we need to get out of the way with this Epson QB1000B, and that is the fact that it's not a 4K native projector. It uses three 1080p 3LCD devices with pixel shifting technology, and that achieves a faux 4K image that's 8.3 million pixels on the screen. And honestly, even to an eagle-eyed viewer, the results are incredibly sharp and detailed. It's really hard to tell the difference between this projector and a native 4K projector, and I've had both of them up together in the same room, and it really is difficult to tell the difference. Another big plus point here with the Epson is that there is a motorised lens cover which protects the lens system, which is great because even the most expensive JVC and Sonys don't have that on their system. And if you're using it in a room, and because it's a 3LCD projector which can attract dust, having this lens cover motorised is absolutely brilliant. The lens system uses a 15-element all-glass unit with plus 96.3% vertical and 47% horizontal motorised lens shift, along with a 1 to 2.1 zoom factor and a 1.35 to 2.84 to 1 throw ratio. There's also 10 memory positions, which is really important with a motorised lens shift capability for different screen aspect ratios. So if you use a wide screen like a 235 to 1 screen and you want to watch 16:9 and then move out to 235 to 1, then you can do so with this system and store those aspect ratios in the memory system. It also supports HDR10, HLG hybrid log gamma and HDR10 plus formats, and it can also support 4K 120Hz signals. There's also dynamic tone mapping on board thanks to the video processor being used, and it looks at HDR content on a scene-by-scene basis and then tone maps the content to the capabilities of this Epson projector. Now, something else to bear in mind is that the Epson QB1000B is a big projector. It weighs in at 12.8 kilograms, so you're going to need a sturdy mounting surface or ceiling mount and room around the projector for airflow and cooling. There are two air intakes at the front, either side of the centrally mounted lens, and then there's two further exhausts on each side panel. Around the back, you'll find the connections with two USB-A inputs, a USB service port, 12-volt trigger out, a LAN and RS-232 control port, and two 40 gigabit per second HDMI 2.1 inputs with eARC ARC on HDMI 2. let's get into the most important part of the review, the picture quality. Now, I've been measuring, calibrating and reviewing TVs and projectors for the last 2 decades, and I'm also trained and certified by the ISF, THX and PVA industry calibration bodies, so you can really trust these numbers. Plus, if you want to deep dive into this, you can do so at AV Forums by reading the full review over there, where we go into this in a lot more detail. Our testing rig consists of a Meridio 7 generator, Calman Ultimate software, a Klein K10 meter, which is profiled to a Jetty 1511 high-res Spectro. Now, these are high-quality measuring and calibration devices that cost many thousands and also very, very accurate. Out of the box, the Cinema preset is the one to use. It offers the most accurate measured image quality out of the box of all of the picture presets available. Grayscale tracking is good, with just a slight lack of blue and red at the brightest end of the scale, which does push the delta E errors just above the visible threshold of 3. But with actual TV and film content, most viewers will be hard pressed to see any of these issues within the content, and certainly this remains the most accurate preset out of the box. After calibration, we achieved a reference level results with our delta E errors averaging 0.7, which is miles below the visible threshold of 3. And for the colour gamut, the Rec 709 HD gamut was dialed in incredibly accurately. In SDR, standard dynamic range, it's a stunning picture. Colours are natural, skin tones are lifelike, and motion with 24 frames per second content is solid with correct pull down. Now, here's the one negative I mentioned in the intro, and it's where the competition from Sony and JVC annihilate this projector, and that's the black levels. Now, despite Epson using the ultra black technology, the blacks on the QB1000B are a dark grey. They're not inky deep black that you get on the much more expensive competitors. You'll also see some crushed shadow detail in the lowest reaches of the image. However, this is a trade-off for the primary strength of this projector, and that is its sheer brightness. This Epson is perfect for living room and media rooms where you have some ambient lighting, and it's in these conditions where a JVC or a Sony would really struggle badly. They need to be used in a reference environment with complete light control and really dark surfaces. This Epson thrives in a normal living room. Now, the contrast is not fantastic. It's 4468 to 1 on-off. But it does have this ability to handle different environments, and it makes the trade-off acceptable for the vast majority of users out there, where you're going to use this projector for gaming, for movies, for TV, for sports, with mixed lighting. The Epson really does knock it out of the park in those environments. Now, moving to HDR, it supports HDR10, HLG Hybrid Log Gamma and HDR10+, and it also uses a clever dynamic tone mapping system that looks at the content on a scene-by-scene basis and then maps that as best as it can to the projector's actual capabilities. We measured colour capabilities of 85% for P3 and 61% of the BT2020 colour space, which are good numbers for a projector that doesn't use a dedicated colour filter. For a complete breakdown of all the testing, including our charts, then click on the link in the description to read the full review at AV Forums. If you're a gamer, then listen up, because this is where the QB1000B becomes a true media room model. It features two 40 gigabit per second HDMI 2.1 inputs with EARC, and this means that you can play games at 4K 120Hz, and the input lag is a blisteringly fast 19.7 milliseconds, which for a projector really is quite outstanding. The price tag on this unit is £4,799, which brings us to the big question: should you buy the Epson QB1000B? There's lots of good projectors out there for a lot less money that do quite a bit of what the Epson does. But if you need a bright, accurate and vivid projector for mixed use in a media room or living room, a place where you watch movies, TV and do a bit of gaming, and where you might occasionally have some ambient light switched on, then the answer would be yes. This Epson is an excellent all-rounder and offers superb features and image quality for the price, and that's why I've given it a highly recommended badge. Now, it won't match a JVC or Sony in terms of absolute picture quality, but those projectors need to be used in a cinema room with light control and dark surfaces and so on. This Epson gives you a lot of the features that those projectors have, but it also works with the lights on. But this is just one review, and the best part of this AV hobby and journey is sharing it with others who are like-minded individuals just like you. And we encourage you to join one of the largest AV communities over at avforums.com. Whether you have a question about setting up this Epson, or you need advice on screen sizes, or you just want to show off your home cinema build, then avforums.com is the best place to be. We're waiting over there to give you a warm welcome. Hit that like button if you found this review helpful, and of course subscribe to the channel for the best AV reviews out there, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Phil Hinton, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.